Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanishalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. In this session, we'll be discussing from the 21st verse of the 10th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Savai kilayam purusha puratano ya eka asid avishesha atmani agre gunebhyo jagadatmanishware nimilitatman nishisupta shaktishu. The meaning of this verse is, they said, the ladies of Hastinapura who are standing on top of the palace, here he is, the original personality of Godhead. As we definitely remember him, he alone existed before the manifested creation of the modes of nature, and in him only, because he is the Supreme Lord, all living beings merge as if sleeping at night, their energy suspended. The ladies of the royal palace of Hastinapura, they are talking amongst themselves about Krishna, and the level of their knowledge is so very advanced that Bhagavatam presents this as the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, their talks. That is because, as was explained earlier, a devotee of Krishna, simply because the devotee is engaged in devotional service, which is as simple as chanting Hare Krishna, worshipping Krishna, or just having darshan of Krishna's deity, one becomes enlightened from within by the grace of the Supreme Lord who is seated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. So these ladies, they are able to discuss at this level, advanced level of Krishna consciousness, simply because they are enlightened from within by Krishna himself. So therefore it is said, instead of trying to study the Vedas and then try to understand what is the absolute truth, one should simply engage in devotional service, by which automatically one becomes enlightened in the Vedic wisdom, and one also becomes purified in the heart of all material contamination. One makes advancement in Krishna consciousness, and ultimately one becomes reconnected with Krishna in their original relationship with Krishna. So, bhakti is the only way to achieve ultimate perfection in our self-realization, in our spiritual development. So, the ladies are describing Krishna. What are they saying in this verse? Prabhupada explains in detail that there are two types of dissolution of the manifested cosmos. This entire material creation, it's called manifested because it is sometimes visible, sometimes not visible. So when it is visible, it's called manifested, and when it is not visible, it's called unmanifested. So this manifested cosmic manifestation, cosmos, has two kinds of dissolution, two kinds of destruction. At the end of Brahma's day, which is 4,320,000,000 years, according to our calculation. That is just the day of Brahma. When Brahma, the Lord of one particular universe, goes to sleep, there is one annihilation. It's called the partial destruction. At the end of Brahma's life, which takes place at the end of Brahma's 100 years, Brahma's 100 years. And what is that calculation? According to our calculation, 8,640,000,000 years into 30 into 12 into 100. That comes to some 311 trillion years. There is complete annihilation of the entire universe. Complete annihilation. As I said, Brahma's end of the day, only partial destruction of the middle and lower planetary systems. At the end of Brahma's life, all the planets in the universe are completely destroyed. And in both the periods, the material energy called the Mahat Tattva and the marginal energy called the Jiva Tattva merge in the person of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is present as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu or Padmanabha Vishnu. In him, both the material energy and the living entities actually rest during the periods when there is dissolution of this universe. The living beings remain asleep within the body of the Lord until there is another creation of the material world. And that is the way of the creation, maintenance and annihilation of the material manifestation. So this material world means there is creation, maintenance, destruction. Creation, maintenance, destruction. This cyclically goes on perpetually. And what about the spiritual world? Krishna's personal abode, Vaikuntha Loka, Goloka Vrindavana, never destroyed, never created, eternally existing. So throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling there is another world apart from this world you are living in. That world, there is no destruction. So Krishna is telling, come to that world. That is Krishna's personal abode. Krishna says, come to that world. He is inviting all of us. So Srila Prabhupada explains further, the material creation is affected by the interaction of the three modes of material nature set in action by the Lord. And therefore it is said here that the Lord existed before the modes of material nature were set in motion. So before this creation, Lord existed as Krishna in his various forms, all the forms, Lord, Krishna, Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, Narayana, Vishnu. They always exist in that particular eternal form. Whereas we have got a form now after the creation. But this form is not going to last. It is going to be destroyed. End of this life or at the end of the universe. At the end of this manifestation. When the dissolution takes place, this will be destroyed. So, it is confirmed in the Shruti mantra, in the Vedas, original Vedas, that only Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, existed before the creation, and there was no Brahma, no Shiva, no demigods. Vishnu means the Mahavishnu who is lying on the causal ocean. There is one causal ocean, Karana Jala. And there, one form of Vishnu, the first form of Vishnu, Mahavishnu, he is lying there and he is breathing. And by his breathing, the universes are coming out of his body in the form of seeds. And these seed-like universes, very, very tiny, they develop, gradually into huge universe. And within that universe, there will be innumerable planets in each and every universe. Now, how do they develop? Prabhupada gives a very nice example. Just like a very, very, very small banyan seed of a banyan tree, very tiny, it's like a pinhead. It's very, very small. That, when planted in a fertile ground, it will develop into a huge banyan tree that can spread over hundreds of square kilometers. That tiny seed. So, like that, Mahavishnu breathes out universes in very, very, very tiny seed-like form. But each of them develops into huge, gigantic universe with millions of planets. Each planet, millions of living entities. So, this Mahavishnu is described in the Brahma Samhita as a plenary portion of Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita it is said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the original personality of Godhead Govinda, whose plenary portion is Mahavishnu. All the Brahmas, the heads of the universes, live only for the period of his exhaling after universes are generated from the pores of his transcendental body." So, Krishna expands as Mahavishnu. That Mahavishnu breathes out universes in seed-like form, and they'll remain only as long as after his breathing out, for some time, he is not inhaling. So, after he exhales little time, then he inhales. So, that tiny duration between his exhalation and inhalation, that is the duration of the life of Brahma. Jivan tiloma vilaja jagadanda natha. That is a lifetime of Brahma. For us, how long is that period? 311 trillion years. The lifespan of Brahma, according to our calculation. So, the interval between the exhalation, outgoing breath of Mahavishnu, and the inhaling, the incoming breath, is 311 trillion years. This is not even the complete breathing cycle of Mahavishnu, 311 trillion years. It is the intervening time between his exhalation and inhalation. So try to understand how great is God. Just this alone can help you understand. So that Krishna, the ladies are telling, is actually the Mahavishnu. Krishna is the original person. He expands into different incarnations, different forms of incarnations, and they are all him only. So Mahavishnu, who is actually the origin of this universe, who breathes in and breathes out, and creation and annihilation takes place. So that Mahavishnu is none other than Krishna only. Therefore they are saying, here is the original personality of Godhead. He alone existed before the manifested creation of the modes of nature. Therefore they are saying that. The ladies talking about this Vedic truth must have heard it from authoritative source. Otherwise, how can they exactly describe this accurately? So, an authoritative source is the only means of knowing about transcendental subject matter, definitely. There is no other alternative. Who can ever figure out this? That how is this creation taking place? The way it is described here, how can somebody figure out? Except by hearing from the proper authority or proper source. So, therefore, the scriptures say, hear from the Vedas, hear from the original source, from Krishna, from the acharyas who receive this knowledge from Krishna in parampara. There is no other way of knowing this. Now, the merging of the living entities in the body of Mahavishnu or Garbhodakshaya Vishnu does not mean the living being is annihilated. The living being as spirit soul is eternally existent, but the body is annihilated. So, the real identity of the living being is spiritual, and that is, we are ultimately devotees of Krishna. And to discover or awaken or come to know about our real identity, we have to engage in devotional service. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.